Hello everyone, I am Beth Driver. I'm your instructor for this course. I'm going to go through the week 2 assignments, but before I begin, I want to let you know that I am not a professional at making YouTube videos, so if I do speak over myself or make some errors in my discussion, I apologize. Also, you may hear my dog in the background. There's nothing I can do about that, and I don't want to have to restart and start, restart and start, so this is going to be informal. All right, so week 2. These are the things that you need to do before you begin week 2. Obviously, you're watching this video, which is awesome because that's probably the first thing you need to do to give you some idea about what my expectations are for this next week. Then what I want you to do is view the announcement. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go here because it's a little bit easier to see the announcements here. All right, great. All right, so I'm not going to read the entire thing because I'm assuming since you're taking this course, you know how to read. If you don't, well, then you've got some problems. Anyway, so let's say you know how to read. So let's make sure you go through all of these, all of the information here. Then I want you to take a look at the activities. I'm going to help you understand what readings are due for this week. Then I'm going to explain the week 2 form. It's a little different, so my information on the form might help you understand what the requirements are. Then you have a quiz, and I'm going to briefly go over what you might see on the quiz. So you might want to listen to that part. Then I'm going to talk to you about what sort of topics you might want to choose for this week. But no, and I want to make sure this is clear, your topic that you've chosen is not set in stone. I'm not going to remember what you've chosen. So at any point in the course of this semester, you may change your topics. I don't care. This is just a discussion. This is just a workshop. Nothing is set in stone, right? So let's take a look at the lessons. That's an important part of the classroom. I've noticed, and if you're watching the video, you're probably not that person, but I have noticed students just uploading assignments without actually reading the lessons, and I can tell. So make sure you read the lesson because there is valuable information in the readings that will help you pass this class or do even better. Okay, so make sure to read over the overview, and here are the areas of the reading and resources that I want you to consider. Audience, let's pull it up. Okay, so when you're completing the activities for the class, you want to know and think about what your audience is. So, isn't my instructor always my audience? It depends. It depends on the assignment. So, for example, your next assignment is a speech, right? Well, yours is a general audience in that respect. All right, so let's go back to the classroom. For week 5, you have an assignment due as well. It's a position paper. And you have a number of ways you can write this position paper. You can write it as an op-ed, a blog post, a letter to the editor. You need to consider who the audience is for these particular assignments. If you want, you can write for me, but in general, just consider that your audience could be a little different than just me. Your final essay, the analysis essay, your audience is your instructor. So that would be me. So that needs to have a formal tone. Also look through here, these are the dates. If you're viewing this at a different time, obviously your dates are different, but it is good to consider the dates for the assignments in this course. Let's go back to the lessons. All right, so we know about the audience, click that. The next reading is purpose. What are you trying to do? Okay, so oftentimes when students are writing an argument, and we'll go through this later in the course, they try to show how the other side is basically stupid. Don't do that. Don't write in a biased tone. You need to try to think about, winning over the other side. That's for the position paper. The first assignment, though, is an informative speech. So we're going to pull that up, and I want you to look at the word informative. Informative does not mean debate. It does not mean persuasion. It means that you're informing me the average person, and believe me, I'm an average person, probably the most average person you've met. I only know a little bit about many things. So what you're going to do is you're going to find a topic that you're interested in. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you know a lot about, just something that you're interested in, and you're going to research it and you're going to explain to me, give me your findings, okay? So you're informing me with the first assignment, sorry. See, I told you I double speak. Assignment, and you're going to inform me about a topic. Then, with the week 5 position essay, you're writing a persuasive essay where you're persuading me, or think about this, the other side of the issue to believe your stance. Those two topics, keep that in mind, the purpose between both topics when we move on to the forums. So let's get out of here. Next, tone and point of view. All right, so this is an important section of that particular article. Your tone in this class will be academic, and it doesn't matter what kind of, and let's pull this up again. It doesn't matter if you're writing the speech or a position paper and you're choosing, let's say, a blog post. Your tone, your voice is still going to be academic. That means no slang, no shortened words. Now this sounds a little better, right? This is more formal. So you're going to be taking on a formal tone in this class. With the speech, the first assignment, you may make errors in tone. After all, it's a speech. That's fine. I'm going to be a little bit easier going with that particular assignment. With the forums, your tone is informal. I'm not expecting a formal tone in the formals. With the final 2 essays, though, I want a formal tone. And we're going to be working on that this semester. Now, let's briefly go through this. I'm going to click out of here. I'm going to go here because it goes more in depth about point of view. Here in this class, you're going to use third person point of view. All right, so you're going to omit the word I. You're going to omit the word you, your, and yourself, and you're going to omit the words us, our, and we. Why? Well, first of all, a lot of students have a hard time removing first person. But actually, when you're writing an informal argument, a formal argument, using the word I and referring to yourself actually weakens your argument because you're reminding the reader that this is your opinion. When you take the I thinks out, it sounds stronger and it sounds more persuasive. We know it's your opinion. We know that. But when you take the word I, you make your writing stronger. And read through this, it will explain why. Also, with you, yourself, and your, you are directly referring to the reader. And sometimes, especially let's say you're writing an obesity essay or you're writing an essay about mental illnesses or alcoholism or abortion, right? And you're using the word you, yourself, and you're directly calling out to the reader. And what you're saying may not fit that reader. So that's why you want to take a third person point of view. Now, there are other weaknesses beside that, but generally, the problem is you're calling out to the reader. Now, I want to go back to the speech, which is not due until week 3, obviously. So, with the speech, you may use and you may directly refer to yourself, all right? I want you to get out of the habit of using you, second person, but you may use I think, here are my examples, and you might have a personal narrative about it. That's fine as well. And next week, I'm going to go more in depth with the speech, but right now, I just want to give you some basic ideas of what you're going to be doing. An informative speech, you may refer to yourself. The point of view may be yourself. All right, let's go back to the lessons. All right, so we've gone through these. There is some guided reading that you need to read as well. So the first one is written communication. This basically is a quick lesson that just goes through some of the different types of communication that you might engage in during your career at APU, AMU, or in your future career, whether it's in the military or whether it's in a fire safety, whether it's in business. This gives you an idea of what sort of communication you would engage in. Also, let's go look at the next one, framing a problem. This just gives you some ideas about how to organize and how to think about your week 5 essay, which is a position essay. Okay? And I apologize if I'm talking fast. I'm a fast talker. That's why it's better than I'm teaching online. Anyway, all right, so there's some supplemental resources, but I'm going to click through the ones that you will find most useful. So I think I already went through this already, but if I didn't, this is an important resource. It is the style guides used by APU, AMU programs. So what you need to do this week is you need to figure out what your major is. And if you don't know yet, that's fine. Just choose whatever citation style you're familiar with. But if not, let's say you know you're going to be an English major. And you should be an English major because it is the best major. And I'm kidding. But in any case, if you want to be an English major, which you should, you might want to practice MLA. But if you are going into environmental studies or environmental science, you would use APA. All right? So let's say you're going into intelligence, which is very popular. You can use Chicago, but you can also use APA if you want as well. All right? Sometimes some of the Intel classes allow you to use APA, so really that's kind of up to you. Accounting, APA. There are generally only 3 that you would be using in this course. It would be APA, Chicago, or MLA. But if I don't know all the citation styles that are listed in the major programs, if you have something else, just let me know and I will work with you on it. All right? So the next one I want you to kind of take a look at is the English program guide, and that one is right here. So this kind of just gives you an idea of what kind of databases are the most useful. When you do research, it is a lot easier to go to the specific database instead of doing a general search. I'll go into this more later, but these are the databases that you'll probably find most useful in this course. So I'm going to click out of that. This is just the English 110 Making Writing Relevant Resources page. If you want, you can click through that. These are some more sample databases you might find useful. And then when you're ready to do some research, this is a great location to help you figure out how to start, what sort of research you should be getting, and who to contact if you're having problems. You can always contact me, but I also think it helps to contact a librarian. That's their job. They want to help you. Email them, text them, or chat. All right, and then just click here for the chat hours. So let's exit out of here, and I want to show you where that information is. That's at the Writing at APUS page. All right, so the final component of this week, and I know there's a lot of readings, but the readings are pretty short, so is the informative communication. All right, so this kind of gives you an idea of what the difference is between an informative and a persuasive essay. And it gives you some ideas of how to choose a topic. So when I go through the forums this week, I am going to look for what kind of topic you're going to be able to research. I have seen a lot of topics in my day. I've been teaching for years. I have seen a lot of specific topics that are hard to research. I've seen broad topics that really are ironically hard to research as well, because it's hard for you to narrow in on a specific reference because there's so many out there. There's just some topics that are just right, and that's my goal in the forums, to help you choose a topic. But also you want to choose a topic that is informative, where you're just informing me about some sort of topic for your speech, and then you want to have a persuasive one, something that's more controversial for the position essay. Position, you're taking a position. What side of the controversial issue should you take? I don't care. I literally don't care. I just want you to choose something controversial, and whatever side you want is fine with me. I don't take off for your position. I take off if it isn't persuasive. All right. So now I'm going to go through the tricky component of the classroom, the forum. All right. So a lot of you posted in your introductory forum, which is great. Make sure you do that. Well, obviously you're probably listening to this on Monday, so you have done that and you're still in the course, which is awesome. All right, so let's look at the creating topics for week 2. All right, so I've already explained all this, choosing topics, but the step 2 is where it gets a little bit tricky. There are going to be 4 threads, right? Look at what your last name begins with. So my last name is Driver, so I would post in the first thread. If your last name is, let's say, McGuire, you would post in thread 3. That was hard to say. THTH. In any case, all right, so here's a sample post. It needs to be at least 250 words, and then you're going to reply, but you're going to reply in that particular thread, okay? You can visit other threads as well, but you need to respond to the initial post twice in the threads that you are in. Okay, so I want you to kind of just stay within your own thread, but you can read all the other threads. It's fine, okay? So let's click on this because it is kind of tricky. So I'm going to click on this. If you have questions, post here. I'm going to go ahead and post on my thread, which is Driver. Then I'm going to reply. I can't create my own initial thread, so I'm going to reply. I'm going to change the title just for fun. Let's say I'm going to call it Beth Driver topic choices. Okay, and then I'm going to post something. Wow, I'm so fast. Just kidding. I already cut and pasted it. All right, so I'm going to post, right? All right, so you see now that my post is directly under this initial post. And if you don't do it exactly right, that's fine, but just make sure you post in the right thread. Then I find a topic that really interests me. Let's say I'm an education major too, okay? And my name is Mary Deirdre. I don't know. Anyway, so let's say my name is Mary and my last name begins with Driver. And I find this interesting. So now I'm going to reply. And if you want, you can say Mary's reply to Beth. I would change a reply title because that way it's easier for everyone to figure out what you're replying to or if it's an initial post. And then I say, great idea. I do think that, yeah. All right, and then I post that. So let's say your name is Bob Dylan. All right, and you find Mary's reply kind of interesting, but she forgot this, some sort of thing. So I would say Bob's reply to Mary and Beth. Great point. However, have you thought of blah, blah, blah? All right, so let's say you have nothing to say to Mary, but you're interested in my post. So then let's say your name is Chris. So Chris to Beth, da 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 da. Okay, so that's how it's going to look. You see how that looks? And so let's go back. And there's 5 posts here, but you didn't post here because your name does not begin with J through K or L through Q or F through Z. Oh, that needs to be changed. All right, because that's a wide range, right? So no, that's R through Z. Sorry. I'll change that. Okay, so let's go back to course home. See, this is why I don't want to restart and start because these lessons take a while and I do make mistakes, like I said. So, all right, so the final assignment that you have due today is the quiz. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So here's the citation quiz. Click on that. Uh-oh, I have already started it, but it says continue assessment, so I'm going to continue. All right, I haven't answered any of the questions, and I don't want you to see them all. So let me go back, resend. All right, so hopefully, okay, great. So the citation quiz. If you're still listening, I'm going to give you some hints, okay? So first of all, citations are important, and a lot of times we're talking about in-text citations. And I'm going to upload a video about that. But basically, in-text citations are shortened versions of the last set of citations in your essay, the list of references. They're shortened versions because you want the reader to know where you found the information, but if they need to know the full citation, they can see the last name, or if there isn't a last name, the article title, and then they can refer to the citation list if they're interested in more information. Citations are generally used with a hanging indent in the last reference list. And a hanging indent basically means that the first line is all the way to the left, and then all the lines under are indented by one tab. Also, citations are not chosen by the instructor. I mean, believe me, if it were chosen by the instructor, I'd make everyone write MLA style because English should be the major that everyone goes into. Just kidding. I would make everyone write MLA because it's easier for me. However, I know that different departments are forced to use different citation styles. And this is not just made up by the department. This is the world over. If you're majoring in psychology, you're always going to use APA, whether you go here, whether you go to Harvard, whether you go to Oxford. You generally will be using APA. In APA, because they're the social sciences, the date of reference is really super important because things change all the time and you need to have the most updated references. So that's why the date is really important in APA. In MLA, it's not as important. MLA, you need to know the author, you need to know the page number, but really in languages, in literature, what you said 200 years ago is still valid today because the work exists in real time. Like the work does not change. You know, Edgar Allan Poe's work has not changed. It's still the same work when he published the short story or poem. Let me think if there's anything else. I would say that when you are working on the lesson, make sure to go to all of these references. These will help you. Especially, let's go into writing at APUS. I think that has some excellent resources that can help you as well. If you have questions before the quiz, let me know. I hopefully will answer a lot more of your questions in the citation video that I open or upload this week as well. All right. That's about it. If you stuck through me with my rambling lesson, more power to you. I'm proud of you. You're probably my go-getter in the class, and I'm excited to see what you come up with this semester. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message or post in the open forum. Have a great